Hello and welcome to Visual Analytics Spring 2018. My name is Dr. Friedman. To all the students that already took my class or know me, welcome back. To those who their faces I'm not familiar, welcome again to Visual Analytics. Before I'll talk about what is visual analytics and what does it entail and why is it so important, especially nowadays where social media becomes such an essential part of analyzed data and data science. And so before I will start that conversation, I want to go over the syllabus and to make sure that everyone understands what does it entail and why is it so important to follow the syllabus. So there's two textbooks that we are going to use in addition to a more online platform, a textbook that is available for free online, Mastering the Information Age, Resolution Problems with Visual Analytics. And again, I want you to read that to give you more background. But the two essential books that we are going to use is the first one, Show Me the Numbers, by Stephen Shu, and the other one, which I did opposite way, is See Your Data in New Ways, and talks about how we can visualize data. So those will be the three main textbooks in our class. One of the things that we will encounter again and again is the use of spreadsheet. And yes, I hope that all of you already know how to use Excel, Microsoft Excel, but in this case, I would like you to experience something new. And in this case, my own passion, my own objective in life is to teach you how to use the R as a platform for it. And I'll talk about R later on in this session, but again, I want to focus right now on the syllabus, and the syllabus is as follow. You're going to have a personal blog where you're going to report what you are going to create using different application. So you're going to use, in this class, you're going to use RStudio, you're going to use Adobe Illustrator, which is part of Adobe visual application, such as Photoshop. Illustrator is a little bit more coherent and will be able to use a lot of dimensions with regard to visual analytics. So this is something that I will try to catch up and teach you how to use. We're also going to use Taboo, and we are going to use Plotly. Plotly is basically an open source application that is posted on the web. And so again, I want you to experience different platforms in order for you to generate a visual analytics. The grades, I know this is the most important aspect of this talk. And so you're going to have a weekly assignment, which is 15% of the grade. 5% is your personal blog, what you're going to do with it and how you're going to develop its core concept. You're going to have quizzes, 3 quizzes. I am not a big fan of quizzes. Why? Because I usually do not understand what I need to ask or to answer. As a student, I was not clear. But based on students' comments and based on what I have learned, you want that the quizzes, past students wanted that the quizzes will be a reflection on the homework assignment and the reading. So the quizzes will just be reinforced the ideas and the concept that we are going to cover in both textbooks about visual analytics, the framework, the graphic interface, and how we apply that. Then we are going to use student peer review, and the idea of students peer review, I will share with you my own writing about the subject, is that you created something visual. Can you do a peer review on that? That's something that is really hard for us as academics, as teacher to evaluate. So peer review is something that is ongoing in my research, so I want you to be part of my research and be able to contribute. And the final project. The final project consists of 2 steps. First of all, you're going to apply what you want and to analyze it, and how do you going to communicate? Are you going to use only visualization out of it, or are you going to also embedded graphics? So this is the subject that we're going to cover, and I hope if you have questions, let me know. One more thing that I did in this class or this year that is different from other classes that I taught in the past is that we are going to have 3 sessions that are live, that I will present before you the module and also will be open to discussion. The reason is, again, based on students' peer review or students' review of my teaching, which is really important. Teaching is not one way, it's both ways. I want you to become better. I will help you to become better if you will communicate with me and let me know what you want and how to achieve that, and I'll give you directions or methodologies how to apply that. So we are going to have 3 sessions face to face. You will be able to come and say, oh, you are a bad teacher, or you are not very smart, or very smart, or whatever you want to do in order for you to communicate, in order for you to share, in order for me to give you alternative way to think about that. Okay, with that in mind, I want to start the session. And in this session, I'm going to introduce to you what is visual analytics. But beforehand, I want to start with an example. And this is historical example of Charles Mignard. And Charles Mignard created in 1879, he created this visualization that you see that capture Napoleon, which was the leader of France during 1812, trying to capture Russia. And in this case, you see a lot of things going on, a lot of variables going on here. And the idea is that you see one of the variables is the amount of soldiers getting into the fight with Russia, which is on top, Moscow. And when they lost the fight, and when the winter of Moscow was too much for the French soldier, they had to come back to Paris and with not many soldiers. And so one of the things that we learn from it is that, first of all, war is not good, and we can express that in visualization. And this is the beauty of it. One of the things that is really interesting that happens nowadays is that we have an open source R application called R. And one of the things that we have a lot of users using R as a platform. Example, this is Andrew Hess, and which took the Mignard visualization and tried to create that into R, which means that he took the data and saw the data based on statistical analysis, which means that the whole notion of the statistical analysis was sought and apply in order for him to follow up on it and generate the visualization based on Mignard application, which for me is pretty cool. So back to our subject and back to visual analytics. So data set. As you saw, I gave the idea of what is a data set. It can be the stars, the number of stars, but it can also be coded that we get. And so this animation just show you that data set can be complex things. Basically, in the School of Information, when we talk about data, information, and knowledge, we usually define or classify them 3 different ways. Data is usually the facts, the character, the symbols, and the statistical collected together to give us what is it the analysis stands for. Information is a higher level, which we learn something from the data. The knowledge is that what we take from the facts and the data and the information and give it through education. We are going to apply that to a more higher level. And the wisdom is what we are making a good judgment on what we know about the data, the information, and the knowledge. We can apply that into visualization to make it much bigger. So, example, in this case, Angus MacDonald in 2011 created this idea where the data can be read or numbers, information has a meaning, south traffic light on the corner of Pitt and George streets. The knowledge, what are we driving? If you are having a car and you are the driver, I hope that green means drive and red means stop. And the wisdom, I better stop the car if the red is light and there's a lot of traffic. So again, the knowledge from data, information, knowledge, and wisdom that make us better people or smart people. The data is all around us. But what is it? In this class, we are going to say that data is the value assigned to a thing. And this is a really vague idea, but I want you to keep it in mind. We will see that, and we will see how different visual analytics software treat the idea of data. Each one of them treat it differently. According to Wikipedia, I know that I don't supposed to provide you with that, but it is data as a general concept referred to the fact that some existing information or knowledge represented or coded in some form. So we are measuring data by looking at numbers, text, etc. And data can be also sorted based on algorithm or statistics, based on a theory or a model, and also, and a very important aspect, is human experience. I feel differently about the data that I consume than you are. In today's settings, every single day, there are 700 million people posted pictures and messages on Twitter alone, including our president. So again, the data is all around us. The issue is what do we do with it? One of the biggest problems we have with numbers is that the numbers cannot speak for themselves. So if I will give you a set of numbers, it doesn't mean anything for you. So in order for us to address this idea of numbers, we are creating spreadsheet, which is each value can be predefined relationship to another value. If I will look at the spreadsheet in the context of history, in 1869, the Post Office Savings Bank in England posted this. Every time you went to the bank, you posted some money, you used to have a clerk that used to know the time, the amount that you post, and it used to be on a paper. This is the idea of a spreadsheet. Nowadays, we do that on spreadsheet. So the first electronic spreadsheet was created in 1974. And there, it's David Berklin and Bob Frankston. They are considered to be the creation of the first spreadsheet. And it was really black and white. It ran on DOS, and it was not very effective, but again, it was the foundation of a spreadsheet. Spreadsheet give us a lot of facilities to capture data. The row, the columns, the cell, the block, the range, all of those things are part of how we looked at data in a spreadsheet. We have labels, we have values, we have formula that allowed us to capture that. The issues that we often encounter 4 years ago is how big is a spreadsheet when we are talking about data. Normally, you can see 9 columns and 18 rows, which is altogether 162 cells. And one spreadsheet has 256 columns and 65,000 rows, which is altogether something that is really hard to capture. So it will take 194 days to fill out 1 cell per second in order for us to apply that. In Excel, we learn that where's the toolbar, where's the menu bar, where's the standard toolbar, and all those formats in order for us to capture that. We learn how to draw on the Excel sheet. We learn how to apply the Excel sheet. But the thing is, with all those advanced things about Excel, when I download from Twitter 2 million records of people tweeted about something, I cannot use Excel in order for me to calculate. And that's the biggest issue. That's why this class is all about the application that we're going to learn. Why? Because Excel, if I will try to apply Excel into Twitter spreadsheet, I will not be able to come up with something meaningful, something that will tell me something about the data. So why do we use visualization? Some of you are in a data science area of concentration. In a book that came out a year ago, one of the things that they say is that we use visualization because we are visual creatures. Otherwise, data without visualization risk the missing important information. So the visualization help us to take a powerful sense, the vision, as another way to see the data, to understand the data, and to see the overall. So it's another pair of eyes for us to see what does it entail. So what is visual analytics? It is an ongoing field. It is the starting of the idea of facilitate interactive ability to sort the data, to understand the data, and to gain more knowledge out of it. According to Kim et al., in 2008, the key terms of visual analytics include data, visualization, knowledge, and models. And we will talk about those models in specific area with regard to data analysis and data visualization. So to visualize, you have to have a form of mental image. So the visualization as a verb is to image or remember the actual seeing. The visualization is the process of representing abstract or scientific data as an image that can aim to in understanding the meaning of the data. So why are we here? Why are we taking this course? So in this course, I will try to cover different forms of visual analytics styles by different software application. I want you, and that's my objective, is that in this class, students will learn basic principles of visual design and evaluation principles, and learn how to apply those principles to produce those visualization. Better producer of visualization will teach you how to produce better. So students will learn techniques of visual analytics such as multivariance, network or graph based on data. We will use different applications such as Google Spreadsheet. If you are not familiar with Google Spreadsheet, this is a time to do that. Yes, some of you will complain to me that it is too easy. This is not the idea. The idea is that form of visualization that we learn and what does it provide us. We will also learn a little bit more advanced applications such as Plotly, such as Taboo, and of course my favorite, as you probably know, I'm an open source guy, we will learn the R. One of the things that I will run again and again to you is that we are going to learn from Handley, which is the creator of ggplot2, how to apply that and how to produce visualization. Other goals in this class. You're going to have a hands-on how to create the visualization. So you're going to learn how to critically evaluate visual representation, which means that we are going to do peer review, and I'll talk about peer review very soon, how to apply that and how to learn from it in order for you to become better. Yes, you have the instructor to give you feedback, but if you learn also from your peer, maybe you'll be able to produce even better work. And so I want you to incorporate what we will learn from the principles of visual designing a visual into your own data and see what it is. We're going to see two types of visualization, scientific and visual analytic. The scientific visualization is a structural data. It is information visualization. There is an example, stock market or top grossing movies, feedback connection, all of it can be converted into scientific visualization. Visual analytics is used to understand large amount of data such as audio, video, text, images, network of people in order for us to better understand. So this is the difference between scientific visualization and visual analytics. So can tables and graph communicate efficiently as words? The answer for me is yes. I am sure that probably most of you will say no, the words is the strongest. That's great. And so my challenge to you is I'll show you what you can do with tables and graph in order for you to be more efficient how you communicate the result. One of the things that I want you to be aware is that numbers can lie. And in 1954, Daryl Hoff wrote a book about how to lie with numbers. And this is still true about nowadays where people use numbers incorrectly. Example, researchers. Example, oh, maybe the president. So those are the things that we need to be aware of and make sure that in our visualization we cover all the bases in order for us to give a good representation of the data. And visualization can lie too. And again, is this visualization tell you all? How many of you, if it was face to face, how many of you see the Asia, the green color? Most of you probably would not pay attention to it unless you hear my voice. So again, visualization can lie, and we will try to avoid that and learn techniques to avoid that. I want you to see two important videos. This is the essential. The first video is by Hans Rosling. He is a professor in statistics from Sweden, and he took the idea of income and how it affects income through history. If you will click on the video, you will see that the BBC did a very nice video with him about what his research is about and how different countries at different capture the data and capture the money and how it affects knowledge, data, and everything else. So this is a must. Hans Rosling is a must video in my field. And the next video is Handley Wickham. He is the creator of ggplot2, and he is one of the founders of the visualization in R. This is a video that he was recorded in New York, and I want you to pay attention to what he says about the visualization and what does it entail. We will also learn types, and we are going to see Plotly, which is an open application online, and open source R. Some of you already learned about open source R today in the class that I'm teaching about open source R programming. If you're not familiar, I'm sure that I will post more information about that, and we will see other application too. Example, as I said, Fusion Table by Google, and others. And again, the idea is what can we do in order to do that. But I want to finish this session to teach you about plot. When we're thinking about plot, we usually think about what does it really means. I will convert the idea of plot into a narrative, a story narrative. And I will show you that the narrative in a plot can be displayed, even though my animation is not very good, as a storyline. And by doing that, I can tell you a story. So the plot is basically organized patterns of events and to make up the story. And that's how I see the visualization. Every plot is made up of series of incidents that are related to one another. So in this first stage, we set up the stage where we want to tell you a story. But in this story, we are raising the action. And in this case, more interesting aspect occur. And we are climbing up the data. But the end, we want to see the climax, like in a narrative, like in the movies. We usually have a climax when the good guy hit the bad guy, or the good guy kissed his partner or something else, which is the climax of the scene or the climax of the narrative. And so in this case, we want to show that. This is where we want to see everything come together. And then in the end, as a narrative, we almost climb down to close the story, to close the narrative. And so this is the end of the story or the resolution. So in this case, in this example, I try to show you that visualization can be converted into narrative in order for you to tell the story. So you have the beginning of the story, you have the middle of the story, and you have the end of the story. You are going to put them together to tell a story. Plotly is much more, and I will talk about that. And just it's a nice platform. It's free, but again, you're going to create and learn how to use it, and what does it entail. What is R, and why I'm so obsessed with R, and I repeat it again and again and again, R. So, if you are R and you never heard about R, it's probably you will say that it is the 18 words, or maybe I have a problem with rating of movies. No, it's not that. It consists of two professors from New Zealand that adopted the S programming from from the 70s and open it to everyone to see. And so they open it and call it R. Why is R? Because their first name started with R. So it was because of it they call it R. So in 1976 the project was discussed in Bell Lab. In 1980 to 1990s the S language was developed, and the person who was developing in Bell Lab named Chambers, and he still works at Stanford, but he did not have much success in the marketplace because during that time Excel started to appear and start offered. And in 1995, as I said before, Dr. Ross Akia and Dr. Robert Gallman from the University of Auckland, New Zealand, adopted the S language and converted to R based on their first name, Ross and Robert. So this course is all about visual analytics. So in this class, you will review what is applied and utilize visual analytic application. This is an online course, and even though we are going to meet 3 times during the semester, my quest and my fear is that when you are by yourself in your computer, you usually do not communicate or you do not ask your professor. So your objective is to ask any questions or Skype me or come to my office. But my hope is that let's have a great semester. This is your opportunity to enhance your portfolio in order for you to get a job or job interview. And this is really important because this is how I created my own portfolio to get a job as a programmer, as an analyst, and as a visual analytic guy. So this is it. This is all. And I hope that you will enjoy that. I hope you will be able to employ the R and will not see the fear of it. And I will see you soon. I would like to welcome you again to spring 2018. And let's have a great semester and a great class. Until then, have fun.